Bobby, he's definitely walking that beam. You know, he can fall on either side. Half of Bobby wants to do good. The other half wants the street life and the drug life.
This program isn't hard. As far as the gang life, I'm always going to be affiliated with my gang. You know, I've did my share of crime, I did my share of time, you know what I mean? It's nothing else you can tell me.
I know that he hasn't fully let go of his past yet.
Hi, Don here from the Kiosk Presents. We're going to be talking about a docuseries, Get to Work, on the Sundance Channel, and it's Monday nights at 10:30, hosted by a really interesting guy called Rob Smith. And Rob, he's with us right now. Welcome to the Kiosk Presents.
Thank you, Don.
Now, this is very interesting because you're the lead job trainer for a program called Second Chance, which is an affiliate of Strive. Tell us what you do, please, and what the show's about.
Well, I mean, we're a nonprofit organization, and we work with individuals that are coming out of prison, that are coming off of drug addiction, that are coming out of homeless shelters, they're chronically unemployed. And, you know, we have been in business now for just about 20 years here in San Diego, and the Strive, as you mentioned, our affiliation with them, the Strive program's been in business for almost 30 years.
You know, Rob, that's interesting because for a lot of people who don't have that kind of additional baggage, the job market is tough. How much tougher it is for these individuals, and what do you do to help them out?
Well, I mean, you know, that baggage that you mentioned, yeah, is quite a bit. I mean, we help them put that baggage down, sort through it, find, you know, whatever's been holding them back, dump that, get rid of it, and try to move forward, you know, whether it be a 30-year prison sentence, and I know that sounds easier said than done, but, you know, for 7 out of our 10 graduates that are getting to work today, you know, they will attest to that's exactly what happened for me at the program.
Well, see, a lot of people who are watching the show may say, well, you know, I don't have a prison record and I've never been abusing drugs and all that, but they're having a hard time landing a job. So some of the tips that you give to these students in your boot camp still are applicable to just about everybody who's looking for a job. What are some of the things that you train them to do, that you make them aware of so they don't do it? Maybe even some of the most common mistakes on an interview. Well,
you know, I mean, we have individuals that come to us that have college degrees and, you know, they don't have any criminal background, but they lack, you know, enthusiasm. They lack the ability to meet the employer on the employer's ground. And what I mean by that is that, you know, they're trying to convince the employer, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, but they're not really telling the employer, well, I'm hiring you for this position. You know, how can you be relevant and fill this position? They're kind of distracted by the fact that maybe they don't have a criminal background and that they don't have any barriers, and they want what they want, and they're not giving the employer what they want.
You know, does the average person lose sight, the average job seeker lose sight of the fact that the employer is seeking them to help him make more money for the company, to make more money than he's paying out to them in salary?
I believe that's the case a lot of times, especially individuals I talk to that have, you know, less to lose by not, you know, getting the job. They actually are there because they're looking to pay their car payment. They're looking to pay a house note. They're not really focused on meeting the employer's needs. And so when they're selling themselves, it doesn't come across genuine as that I want to be here for you and be here for the company.
Well, tell me a little about your boot camp, too. What do you do in a boot camp? I think you have a 4-week boot camp, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes. I mean, you know, it really is us, you know, a lot of times what you'll see is the shock factor. I mean, you know, individuals that have been, you know, kind of laying dormant for a period of time, you know, they need to be resuscitated. They need to be shocked a little bit. I know that was the case for me. You know, 12 years ago when I came through the program, you know, I needed a wake-up call. I need to realize that the biggest barrier I had to employment was myself. It wasn't the fact that the job market was bad. It wasn't the fact that, you know, I was in a competitive market. It was I couldn't get out of my own way. And a lot of times that's what we're trying to do, is remove those personal barriers and that baggage. And what you'll see is people becoming defensive, that they're trying to hang on to that because that's their identity. You're actually challenging a person's identity. And you know, no one wants to look at themselves and say, it's not working. Something I'm doing is wrong. We always want to put it on an external factor.
You know, when I think about some of the common, I had somebody show up for a job interview in my business with a friend, with their best friend. What would you say to a person who did that? I mean, how do you handle that?
Well, Don, they actually weren't thinking about you, were they? They was thinking about what they're going to do after the job interview. Maybe go to lunch, hang out for the day with their friend. You know, that tells me that the person really didn't think about, what am I here for? They thought about the great benefits that I'm going to get if I get this job.
Yeah, it always stunned me when that happens. But are there some things that you, what do you tell a student? Like, I felt so sad for the person. I said, well, you just blew the interview, but I didn't say it out loud. I said, thank you very much. We'll get back to you if we can use you, kind of thing. But what are some of the easiest to address common mistakes that the young or middle-aged person does on a job interview?
Well, I mean, I think for one is people really don't stand in front of a mirror. They don't practice their smile. They don't go out and practice their handshake. They think, you know, oh, a handshake, you know, the basic mechanics of a handshake is pretty easy. But, you know, intuitive, you know, nature that you kind of showed there when you were interviewing the person, you know, you knew that there were telltale signs that I'm not going to spend my time and money working with this individual. You know, yeah, you may have not have said it to them, but, you know, you knew in the back of your mind this isn't going to work. And I don't think a lot of people think about that strategy ahead of time. They're not really paying attention to all the little, you know, things that make up the first impression, the eye contact, the enthusiasm, the handshake. They're not really giving it a lot of thought.
Do you spend much time on helping the students understand the importance of making a good appearance and the clothes they wear? And, you know, what do you do to get them started so they can go on their first interview and at least come across as reasonable?
Well, that's something that we constantly work on. It's not, you know, it's not a one-time, one class. It's not a handout. It's experiential. So we're doing that on a daily basis. We have a multitude of exercises where they're going out in the general public, shaking hands. They're being critiqued.
Roll, please. Be back in 10 minutes.
We give the students a 10-minute break. What they don't know is that this is the first test. If you have a problem being late, you're not going to get a job. We are watching the clock.
We're close. We're not yet, but we're close.
Okay, guys, that's it.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Go ahead and stand on the wall for me, sir.
Even if you're 10 seconds late, we'll make you stand against the wall. So, how many of you, by show of hands, agree that you're late? And the rest of you are in denial? Should I do it? Anyone that comes in late is gonna have to pay a fine or give up something of value to get their seat back. Hit that beat. I got it. All right, good. Have a seat. If they don't, they gotta go. What is this, $3? Yeah, I'll take rings, watches, I don't care what it is. Time is money. Where the students are in their lives right now, losing $2 or $3 out of their pocket is real painful. Oh! Class ring!
How about some trail mix? You like trail mix?
No, I don't want trail mix. We wanted those shoes.
Those DCs are decent.
I don't got no socks on. No high socks in there.
Donald?
Yeah.
We'll see you next class. We have employers that come in that actually perform the mock interviews that give these individuals tips. You know, if they want to work in customer service, I have a person from customer service that comes in that says, you know what, you're way off the mark, and this is what you need to do to improve. So we're constantly working on those things that are keeping them out of the workforce in the sense of those soft skills.
You know, it might be as simple as, from hearing you, it might be as simple as, for some of these individuals, just teaching them some basic social skills.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when you've been, you know, locked away for 30 years, you've interacted, but you haven't interacted in the world of work. You've interacted in a whole nother world, and you're competent at interacting in that world. I mean, I was competent in interacting in jail, and I was competent in interacting in prison. Interacting in the world of work was a little different.
You know, you have this boot camp, but not every student graduates. What happens? What's the failure rate, and why? Why don't they make it?
Well, I mean, you know, if we enroll 100 people, we're going to graduate 50. And you'll hear us say it. I mean, there's people that come to our program, if they're court mandated, or, you know, maybe their mother, their father, you know, said, hey, go there, look busy, look like you're doing something so that, you know, I don't kick you out of the house or I don't put you back in jail. You know, what we try to do is assess what this person's real motivation is. If it's not really to go to work, then they're in the wrong place.
So we also get to meet other team members when we're watching the show. We get to a drug testing person, someone who handles mock interviews, and counseling and eye contact too, because you did mention that.
Yes, you'll
So
get to
this is
see.
sort of
Yeah, you'll get to see all of our team, you know, interacting with the clients that we serve. If you go to tonight, you can actually watch the episode at 10 p.m. and for the next 6 Sundays on the Sundance Channel. And you can download it on iTunes and Hulu.
Well, let's get it right. Monday nights, is it at 10 or 10:30?
10 p.m. Eastern Time.
10 p.m.
Yes.
Okay, that's a great thing you do with all these individuals who have difficult circumstances in their life. But again, I know the show is appropriate for any viewer because these job tips translate to almost anybody out there in the job market.
Actually, Don, what we're going to have you do is just come out and visit us, and you can tell that experience to my students. They'll love it.
Okay, sounds like a good invite. I appreciate that.
All right.
Okay, we have to wrap it up. The docuseries is Get to Work on the Sundance Channel, Monday nights at 10 p.m. Be there with Rob Smith. Rob, thank you for joining us here on the Kiosk Presents.
Yeah.